Hey everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Professional People Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Diederich. And my guest was Kyle Nelson from Insight Commercial. Kyle and I had a great conversation about what's going on right now in the commercial real estate market, what businesses are doing during the challenging times of the COVID-19 pandemic, and Kyle's philosophy on the will to win. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy.
Hey Kyle, how's it going today?
Hey, good man. Dan, how you doing?
Everyone, welcome to the first ever episode of the Professional People Podcast. This is my guest, Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson is a commercial realtor at Insight Commercial, and I'm going to let Kyle introduce himself here and tell you all a little bit about what he does and what they're doing over there at Insight Commercial. Kyle, it's all you.
Yeah, thanks, Dan, and thanks again for having me on today. So Insight Commercial, we're a commercial real estate brokerage based out of Commerce, Michigan. We're a full service brokerage. We specialize in anything from retail, industrial, land, multifamily investments, tenant rep, buyer rep, landlord rep. So, I mean, we do it all when it comes to commercial real estate.
Well, that's awesome, man. I know I've talked to you before about what you guys got going on and who your ideal prospect is, you know, who's the people you can help serve the best. How about you tell everyone else a little bit about who your ideal prospect is and who you can help best serve?
Yeah, you know, as you can see from the description of the company, you know, we cover everything. So really, the answer to your question, really anyone that's looking to get into commercial real estate or that has commercial real estate assets. The one thing about Insight Commercial that I feel like kind of separates us from our competitors in the market is that, you know, everyone gives great service. You know, I can't say anything bad really about our competitors. But with Insight, we cater to basically anyone that's looking to get into commercial real estate. Like I said, from, you know, a one-off store or someone that's looking to buy their first piece of commercial real estate, all the way up to national and international investors and users in the medical field, in the industrial industry, in the retail space, whatever it might be. So really ranging from 500 square feet all the way up to 50,000 square feet space. And I really feel, I know that's kind of a broad spectrum there, but I really feel like that's who we cater to. And you're gonna get the same service from us and myself, whether you're on one end of the spectrum or the other.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so like, what are some of the recent deals you've been doing? You know, there's a lot of different things going on with coronavirus and the COVID-19 thing. So what are you doing as a business professional right now to, you know, keep up with everything going on and stay with the times?
Yeah, you know, I would say we're operating business as usual. Obviously, that is to a certain extent. You know, as many of you have heard, you know, with the governor's executive orders, unfortunately, we're not considered essential. You know, we're kind of finding ways around that to still operate business as usual, in the sense of doing virtual showings. You know, there's some of my listings that I do get a lot of hits on regularly. I've made sure to get through, take videos, detailed pictures of the building, to really keep us operating and keep us moving forward through these tough times with COVID-19. And we are still closing some deals, which is nice, and we're getting some properties under contract, which, you know, is definitely an added, you know, kind of happiness in these dark times as some people, you know, look at them. But yeah, I mean, we're still operating, and that's just, you know, phone's not ringing as much, but we're still trying to do our best.
No, I think that's honestly one of the best things I think that is happening out of all of this is seeing the creativity of business people and how they're making it happen without operating as, in person together, and how we all can use technology to do things like this. And, I've been on more Zoom meetings in the past couple of weeks than I ever have in my entire life. But honestly, it's a great thing. You're talking to more people, and just finding ways to adapt during challenging times. And I think technology is a great tool, and I think a lot of people are using it. And obviously, Insight is to make things happen with virtual tours and stuff. And I just think that's an awesome thing to look at a positive coming out of this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't know what Zoom was. Zoom that wasn't even on my radar before all of this happens. But we're definitely using it. I'm using it on a day-to-day basis, whether it's podcasts like this or meeting with clients. It's definitely a great tool to use. And it's kind of funny. With everything happening, if this weren't to happen, I still wouldn't have known what Zoom was. But and this is obviously becoming a new norm for us, or a temporary norm, hopefully. But I mean, even going forward, I think it just goes to show that this is just another way to do business. I mean, obviously, I'm a people person, and whether instead of sending an email or a text message, I'm going to get on the phone or meet someone in person. But I mean, for our out-of-state clients, our out-of-country clients, I mean, this is just the avenue that hey, we can still continue to operate, pandemic or not. So
yeah. And I'm interested to see what happens with everyone, everyone working at home and using Zoom and stuff like this. I wonder what is going to stay when things go back to normal here.
You and me both. I mean, I definitely we can operate anywhere and continue our business. Obviously, this is making it tough, but definitely, I would place a bet that you're definitely going to see businesses, companies, individuals operating at a little bit different tune once this is all over with. And I guess depending on your industry, it could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. But
For sure. So let's get back to your industry, commercial real estate. Can you explain to our listeners why is commercial real estate a good investment?
I think real estate in general is a good investment, Dan. I would definitely wouldn't discourage anyone that wanted to get into rental properties on the residential side of things. I think what separates us though from residential to commercial real estate investments, I think one, you get a bigger return, and there is more of a potential for a larger return. And also, in residential, you see kind of quick turnover. You're probably only seeing 1 to 2 year leases, whereas in commercial, I mean, you have, depending on what your tenant is and what your investment appetite is, I mean, you can have leases up to 20 years initially, 10 to 20 years, and that you're locked in, it's guaranteed. Obviously, from a landlord standpoint and investor standpoint, you have to shift a little bit in certain situations like we're experiencing now, but your tenant's not going anywhere. So, I guess one piece of advice, if I had to, if someone's asking me, Kyle, why should I invest in commercial real estate? I think for the simple fact that, it has great potential. Any investment's going to be a risk. You always can put your money into stocks, and those are, as we can see now, those are going to go up and down and they're going to fluctuate. But I can tell you right now that our landlords, our clients that have investment properties, they're shifting. Maybe they're given a free month's rent in the month of April, and maybe they're given 50% discount next month in May, but their tenants staying in place and they're still getting a return out of their investment. So I just think it's a great thing to have.
Yeah, for sure. I'm talking about managing risk, being in the insurance industry. I definitely know a little bit about that. And, the more safety you have in an investment during times like these, it makes it easier. So that definitely makes a lot of sense on what you're saying with having, the long-term leases versus a year or two.
Mhm.
It makes for a safer bet, and especially during these times. So I was wondering, how do you see the real estate market evolving going forward? I know that interest rates are super low right now because of everything going on. When we get out of this pandemic and crisis, what do you think the other side of it looks like in the commercial real estate market?
I think it looks awesome. I mean, flat out, I think it looks great for us. I think it's a great time to, when we get out of this, which we will get out of this. I think it'd be a great time to be in commercial real estate, whether it's from an investment standpoint or from our side as a brokerage. I think what you're seeing is, you obviously have companies that are taking advantage of these SBA loans, and then also these PPP um, endorsements and backings and grants and everything like that, which I think is going to help. Unfortunately, it just released yesterday that they're running out of money. But I think that those things are great to set up once this pandemic is over and we get back to business as usual. I think companies are going to be hitting the ground running. I think investors are going to be hitting the ground running, and you're just going to see this huge boom again. And I think part of that will be too is that, and I don't want to get too political, but obviously this whole virus, this crisis, it started out of the United States. So I think what you're going to see is a ton of manufacturers and a ton of consumers having the mindset that it's going to be American first, USA made only products. And I think that's going to cater to this big boom that we're going to be seeing. So I think the sky's the limit once we get out of this. It's just a matter of when that is. And I think right now, I think we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's still pretty dim. But anyone watching this, anyone that I talk to, yeah, it might be doom and gloom right now, but we're gonna turn the corner on this, and it's gonna be all sunshine. So.
Yeah, you got me wanting to run through a wall over here. Blast the "Made in America" by Toby Keith or something.
There you go.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. I think when you go through hard times like this, it's always brighter when you get through it, and better than ever. So I can't wait for it, honestly, either. And you and I are both we're both Catholic Central alumni. We're both BNI members, and for those who don't know what BNI is, it's Business and Networking International, and it's pretty much a group where we come together. We have about 20 different business professionals, business owners, and we try to pass referrals to each other, try to help each other grow our business. I'm just wondering, Kyle, can you tell our listeners how BNI has personally helped you, especially during these times, and having a support group to lean on? I know that's a big thing we talk about in our meetings every week. Can you just tell the listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. As you are, I think you only have about 6 months, less than a year into BNI. I got about 3 months now. Right when I joined, I knew that this could definitely benefit my brand, benefit me in my career, and I already immediately started seeing that from when I joined back in February. I immediately started seeing, okay, this is going to be a good thing. Full disclosure, I haven't closed any deals from BNI, but I mean, I definitely have gotten leads and whatnot. And then obviously this whole thing happens last month, and I'm like, geez, I guess we'll see how this goes, and maybe that'll determine what it looks like going forward for me being a member of BNI. I only have positive things to say. I mean, we're still having our one-to-one meetings via Zoom or just a simple conference call. And quite honestly, some of the leads that I've gotten from BNI, I mean, they're still going on. I think that's a little bit of luck. But I mean, even through these hard times, it's just great to hear on our weekly meetings, the challenges that everyone is facing in their work environment, and then also the advice that you can take from that. Maybe it's because I wasn't at first, I wasn't hooked in on this Zoom. I thought it was could be a good tool, and it's there. But now doing it every week with BNI, and then even during my one-on-ones, listening to people in different industries that this is all they're operating off of. It's like, okay, cool. So you kind of get a couple pointers. I think that's what BNI is all about. We're helping one another even during these tough times, and it's just really showing the true colors of the group, of the BNI brand, that even during a pandemic, people are still getting it done. People are still getting up early, plugging into that 7 a.m. meeting every Wednesday, and seeing how we can help one another and close deals.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't agree more with everything you said there. And just to add on to that, I mean, I think like you, I joined pretty recently. So haven't been in the group for too long, but it does take some time. But it's all about relationships, and that's what BNI has really taught me. Is it's if you have someone that you can help out, that's going to come back to you later in life, and the law of reciprocity. So it's honestly a big reason I started this podcast. I'm meeting with 20 different business professionals every week. I want the people that I'm associated with to be able to have access to that network too. So why not shoot a podcast and put that out, so people can learn about commercial real estate, about banking, about any of those industries. We go in there every week and we talk about it, and you learn from these other professionals. And I think that's the mission of this podcast, is just to highlight other professionals, share what they're doing, and all of us try to work together and push our businesses forward. And I think I learned that from BNI. And I think our group, especially, and BNI in general, has a lot of big things ahead in the works.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then also something we have in common is both of us are Catholic Central alumni from Detroit Catholic Central and Novi there. How did your education and time at CC help you grow as a business professional today?
First and foremost, when we initially met and I found out that you were a fellow Shamrock, it's always great to hear. I consider that brotherhood to obviously that's what Catholic Central preaches. It's a brotherhood, and even when I'm 29 years old and have some great experiences in my life, and went to a great university and everything, those 4 years at Catholic Central were still some of the best 4 years that I've had in my life thus far. And it is because of that brotherhood. And now that I'm in the professional field and everything, I'm seeing that brotherhood transfer over. And so I think that's kind of how Catholic Central has helped. That it's almost like a BNI group, so to speak. You have so many people from different that have taken different career paths, and now that is circling back and helping one another. I mean, I've gotten a number of leads and closed business from just a Catholic Central connection, whether it was direct, like us doing business, or if it was you knew someone who knew someone that needed something in the commercial real estate space. And that's just great, because I know that if an alum needs help, whether it's in insurance or whether it's in commercial real estate, they're going to think, oh, let me reach out to Kyle first, or let me reach out to Dan first. And I just think that's awesome. And that's what I still, preach too. I bleed blue. So if I need help in a commercial insurance space, I'm going to go to Dan, or, whatever that need might be. And I definitely think that has helped me. And kind of actually a small tidbit here. The reason why I ended up at Insight Commercial, and as a matter of fact, got into commercial real estate, was through a Catholic Central connection. I was coaching at Catholic Central, coaching hockey, And one of the parents knew he was a successful guy, wanted to kind of pick his brain a little bit. And so we're kind of a CC company in the sense that we're owned by a CC family. And so if it wasn't for CC, probably would not have gotten into commercial real estate, who knows, and probably wouldn't have been sitting here. So, I mean, it's just those 4 years at Catholic Central have definitely transferred over, and I'm confident that they'll continue to be with me throughout my professional career as well.
Yeah, once again, couldn't agree more. I mean, like you said at first, just when we met each other and we said CC, there was an instant connection there. And I think that just really speaks volumes of what CC is all about. And it's that brotherhood and that family atmosphere. And I think, we got 3 Catholic Central alumni in our office, me, my brother, and Josh Fanning, class of 13. So we got a lot of blue blood in our office too. And I think we're being a family business and having some CC alumni in there too. It really teaches you how to extend your family outside of your immediate bloodline. So you can treat someone who's not actually your family like family, and you can consider them your family. It's just a mindset. And the more people that you help out and view and treat like your family, the better your life is going to be, because you're going to get that all back. And I think that's a big theme of this podcast is you're gonna get back what you put in. So having those relationships, really developing them and being authentic about them, and having the right intentions too.
Yep, I could not agree more.
So I guess one thing, Kyle, this has been an awesome talk. And I guess one thing for our listeners as we head out here, what's one piece of advice that you would give an up and coming business professional here to grow themselves going forward?
One piece of advice. I come from a sports background. I played hockey. I felt like I was skating before I was able to walk, and so I've always had kind of a sports mentality. And now that I am in my career, I find myself relating a lot of sports experiences or sports analogies to my daily life and my career. And so one thing that that it started in high school. What it was is it was actually the morning of the state championship. My dad wrote on my bathroom mirror, "Will to win," and so that kind of stuck with me ever since my senior year of high school. And as a matter of fact, not to kind of toot my own horn, but we did win the state championship, and on the inside of my ring, I had that engraved, "Will to win." And so I transfer that over into kind of my work mindset as well, in the sense that what those 3 words mean to me is you got to put in the time, you got to put in the effort, and kind of like what you just said, you're gonna get out what you put in. And I feel like that phrase there encompasses all of that. So someone that's looking to get into commercial real estate, or just starting their professional career, I think that phrase can definitely transfer over. And I definitely think that can be a reminder that when you hit tough times, when you don't want to put in that extra hour of work at the end of the day, or when you're going into a tough business meeting, whatever it might be, will to win. And if you have that mindset, you're going to be prepared and you're going to succeed. So that's something I live by, and that's something that I would recommend anyone getting in the industry to live by as well.
Well, folks, you heard it from Kyle. Have a will to win and go out there and attack the world. Go have a blast out there writing some business in whatever industry it might be. And Kyle, I just want to thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your insights and thoughts about commercial real estate and just life and business in general, man. Thanks so much. And I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. And kind of kudos to you. When you told me you were thinking about doing this, I thought immediately it was a great idea. And then when you asked me if I'd be your first guest, definitely honored. And I just want to thank you for having me. And I definitely look forward to continue success in your career, and definitely just look into how we can work in our careers together going forward.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for listening. And remember, keep it professional, people.